And welcome into the Tuesday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. What's going on?
Not much. The Detroit Tigers did get a Spencer Torkelson bomb in the ninth inning to beat the White Sox last night, so I just wanted to give everybody that update. The Chicago White Sox are buns. They suck. They're trash, and they lost to my Tigers. So life's pretty good.
Well, maybe one day they'll be the Nashville White Sox, and we'll see where your allegiances go at that point.
You know what? If they become the Nashville White Sox, I mean, I might be a bigger fan of theirs than the Detroit Tigers. To rip that team from Chicago
would be kind of awesome.
That'd be it. Yeah. So be ready for that in a few years. Just have to figure out where they're going to play.
Yep. Nolensville, the Nolensville White Sox. Could be.
Hey, there's a thought.
Got some farmland down there. Ian, how we doing? What's going on?
Oh, doing great. Too much farmland still left in Nolensville?
It's
Joe,
probably rapidly deteriorating.
There's a little left. There's a lot less farmland than when I moved there a decade ago.
Yeah, I can say that around my parts too.
Yeah, we got a little bit left.
A lot of deer, though.
Well, yeah, they got to go somewhere. They run in front of me. Got a new car.
Oh, nice.
Because they totaled the car because I smashed it into a tree, so we had to. So there you go.
How was that process? The car buying process?
We go pretty fast, man. We go pretty fast. It was
okay. Like you guys brand loyal?
Found one. Well, yeah, kind of. But Katie finds them, and then it's like boom. It's like one day, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Get in, get out.
Yeah, the whole shopping around. Yeah, it's like you can shop online now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can kind of get a target and then go instead of just like, okay, let's go out to this or that dealership and, play grab ass for 8 hours and then go home with nothing. We don't like to do that.
Joe, it's a sad day here on the show. After our show yesterday, I got to the point I was really looking forward to Friday, a little redemption tour for Tim Boyle. Yeah. Get back out there and play a little bit more quarterback for the Titans and, see how he responds after a tough day at the office on Saturday down there in Tampa Bay. And now we're just not going to get to see it. Tim Boyle is out with the Tennessee Titans. Trevor Siemian, who I think has been a Titans quarterback approximately 8 different times, is now back in the organization here. So Boyle out, Siemian in as third quarterback, and the Tennessee Titans march on. Joe Rexrode, your thoughts?
Well, tough for Tim Boyle. It may be that the last time he plays in an NFL game of any kind results in a 0.6 rating. So kind of feel bad about the fun we were having with him yesterday. Sorry, Tim. Then you bring in a guy who, what year was it that Siemian came in here? It was years ago, around the same time, and it was like, is he any good still? No.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, no.
A long time ago. And I think he was here at one point last year, too, wasn't he? Yeah, he was. One point last year, he was
That's
here.
right. He did pop in.
This is legitimately like third time he's been here.
Yeah. But what year was that he was here? They were good then.
I want to say
were
like
good.
2020 or something like that. Go back and look.
So, yeah, that could be. And it was, my gosh, was that like the Logan Woodside era? Was that basically it was like, it's really
I don't know
rough.
if he's ever played a regular season game, though.
I don't think he has.
No, I think he's only been practice squad.
No, he came into camp and it was like, oh, no. And that was years ago.
Because, he's not even listed as the Titans on Pro Football Reference.
He spent the 2020 season on the practice squad for the Titans. He was back in 2024, and now he's back again.
So that was Tannehill, obviously. That was Tannehill, and who the heck was his number 2? Was it Logan Woodside?
It may have been Woodside.
Yeah, so it was like so I'm remembering it. So Woodside was rough, and it was like they need somebody to try to, like, Logan Woodside. Yeah, this is not it. And they brought in Trevor Siemian, and it's like, well, that's also not it.
Yeah.
That was 5 years ago.
Got some good nicknames according to Pro Football Reference, though.
What do we have?
We got T-Money Sizzle, T-Money Wiggle.
Oh, that's even better.
Or T-Dot.
T-Dot. Now Tennessee. There we go, T-Dot.
Wow, yeah. Let's see if you can pave your way to 3-pick game in the preseason.
See if you can pave your way to a quarterback rating that's better than 0.6.
Yeah, see if you can get over 1.0. T-Money Sizzle and T-Money Wiggle, huh?
I think I like T-Money
Pro Football
Wiggle
Reference,
a
man.
little bit better.
And
Well-
Pro Football. I want to know the sourcing for Pro Football Reference on these things.
I don't know.
It's like no one ever hears about this, but then somehow they have these.
They
have
got
this
one for Tim
information.
Boyle. Tim Boyle does not have a nickname.
Is that
on
right?
Pro Football Reference, yeah.
Well, we can probably come up with one on his way out of town. The little.
Well, I mean,
We're letting
look,
Tim Boyle.
let Tim Boyle is hard to beat.
Chef Boyle.
Yeah.
Chef Boyle D. Something like that.
Oh,
Chef Boyle throws to the D. Wow. There, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
wow, you guys did that in about 8 seconds. Way to go.
I was gonna say like
we
the
didn't even
little
discuss that in the pre-show meeting.
the little pot that could or something. You know?
Yeah, there we go.
Boiling, but yeah. Well, sorry for your trouble, Tim Boyle.
Jared on the YouTube chat says Boyle will almost assuredly play better this Friday compared to Saturday. But of course, not playing.
Well, are you sure he won't be picked up and playing with somebody else this weekend? Who knows?
I mean, I can't guarantee that.
We don't know this for sure. Yeah, that's it's in all seriousness. I don't think I said this yesterday. Like there was a practice day where he actually looked pretty good. Not kidding.
Yeah,
Not kidding.
Look, I guess that's not surprising because he's got to figure there's got to be a reason he's been in the league this long. And it certainly is not what he's done on the field in games. So I'm searching for something out there.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like him, like your QB3, you have to be able to you have to have a certain level of skill to be able to just do the 7-on-7, do the 1-on-1s, like just be again. It's like are you be a batting practice pitcher, right? Like you still have to be able to like do something. And he seemed fine. It's just that when you get out there and you get the Tampa Bay Bucks number 3 guys on defense, sometimes
you're hitting them in stride.
It just gets a little tough. Yeah. So, but Trevor Siemian, if anybody thinks this is going to be like a QB2 battle, as now Brandon Allen wasn't good there, and I would not expect that. I would not expect that.
If it is, it's probably not because Brandon Allen's out there playing good football. I mean, Trevor Siemian did not take a snap in an NFL game last year. So
I do remember he had a little moment with where it was like that guy, and like in the regular season, it was like he actually looks okay. It was after he was here.
It was New Orleans. It was 2021.
Okay.
He was with the Saints, and they did not win a game when he was playing, but he threw for 11 touchdowns and 3 picks.
Yeah, there you go.
In the 6
an
games that he
88.4
played.
rating.
Yeah. So that's where it was. It was like, wait a minute. Trevor Siemian couldn't even sniff the field with the Titans. And then he got to New Orleans and played decently. Now, since then, he's been in Chicago for a couple games. Didn't go well. The Jets, nobody's played well at quarterback for them in ages. And then last year, he did not appear in a regular season game.
And now for all the Northwestern football fans out there, as you remember, he was a nice player for the Cats, for the Purple Cats, around the mid 2010s. So, but that was a long time ago. 33 years old, huh? 33.
Yeah, I mean, he's still out there, still going. We'll see what this looks like, or are we talking about another quarterback coming in this time a week from now? Like, are we about to go through like a quarterback musical chairs here to figure out who the third guy is for the Titans?
I mean, probably not, because I'm sure he can come in here and give you the practice stuff and give you some preseason work that's not awe-inspiring. This is his ninth team. Now he's had a repeat here with the Titans. He also, by the way, does have a Super Bowl ring because he was Peyton's backup.
That's true. Yeah,
he was Peyton's backup in Denver.
I guess he
back in 2015 as a rookie.
Maybe
I don't know if he was the backup. Probably wasn't.
He was
the backup.
third. I think he was Osweiler.
QB3.
I wonder if Callahan was there then. If there's any carryover.
I think there is. Right?
Was Brian Callahan? Now Brian Callahan was not there for the Super Bowl year, was he?
Now you've got me.
Yeah, you would think we would have heard he had a
head.
Super Bowl ring at this point.
But I
don't know.
Siemian was there for 3 years, so in those 3 years, it's very possible. Obviously, he was there with Peyton Manning. Now, was when did Peyton Manning? We're going down the. No, yeah. In fact, he was. No, he was an offensive assistant, so he does have a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he ever wear that around?
I
Put
don't
that
know.
in people's
That's
faces.
that's where the Trevor Siemian stuff begins.
But that is the Siemian. That is the Siemian
origin
connection. Story. His last of 3 years as an offensive assistant for the Broncos. 2015 was Siemian's rookie year. Then Callahan went on to the Lions and Matt Stafford in 2016.
There you go.
So there you go. So they've got the history together. And so he's got history with Brandon Allen and Trevor Siemian.
Lenny says, "What's up with the Titans? They had all offseason to find a respectable backup and a mentor for our young new quarterback." Well, I mean, Brandon Allen's still here. And again, I said this yesterday, and I know it's hard to separate the on-field performance. But, I mean, in all actuality, when you really think about it, your backup quarterback and certainly your third-string quarterback, you hope to not see the field. Like, you hope you keep your quarterback healthy and those two guys don't play. So, like, what they bring to the table for your rookie quarterback off the field is also important in this discussion, right? Like, it's not just about how good they are on the field.
Yes, but to some people, and I get this, some people would like to see someone more accomplished, and that's where it gets interesting. I would argue that you could, you could bring in Dan Orlovsky, who right now probably couldn't play catch with his kids, right? But you could probably bring in Dan Orlovsky, and he could probably talk through a quarterback about film stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like, what I understand the idea, and I think a lot of fans think this way. It's like, I want someone who at least has done something in the league to be the mentor to my rookie or young quarterback. I don't think that's necessary. So, yeah, if Brandon Allen, if he's great behind the scenes, then there you go. That's the role. But I get some people are like, well, how could you be great if you suck?
Well, I mean,
the fact is you can be. You can be great at the mental side of this and talking through it, just like some people are great. You can be a critic of art, or you could be a taster of wine, and you can't make it, right?
Yeah, well, it's coaching, right? Like, there's a lot of
There
people that are great coaches that did not play.
People who do, and people who can't coach, or I don't know what it is. No.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Another move made by the Titans yesterday that, when you think about it in comparison to something that hasn't happened yet, it still blows my mind. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Tim Boyle out as quarterback here in Nashville. Trevor Siemian coming in. Another move made, and hopefully a much more significant move made for the Tennessee Titans yesterday. Lloyd Cushenberry has come off PUP, which means that he is now able to practice. He's passed the physical. He is able to practice, which is a good sign. And frankly, Joe, something that this early into the season / camp, I was not sure that we would see coming off the torn Achilles. So that is very good news for the Tennessee Titans. I don't know that it necessarily guarantees that he's ready for week 1, but it's a pretty good situation to be in. I mean, we're still several weeks away from week 1, and he's back on the field practicing. That is a very good sign to have Lloyd Cushenberry back at this point.
Yeah, I have to assume, and it'll be interesting to hear, Brian Callahan. I know that he has, in fact, I think he said the other day, don't want to do timeline stuff. Maybe he's getting a little bit reticent about talking injuries. Don't want that to happen. Keep talking injuries, please, Brian Callahan. But, man, as a Twitter doctor with several degrees, I would think that off the PUP 4 weeks for the season, pretty good chance that you're going to play.
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mess with him in preseason all that much for sure. But
no, yeah, probably not. Especially because the last preseason game, it's not like it used to be where it's basically like 9 days for the opener. So it's like 2 weeks. But, yeah, Lloyd Cushenberry back in his old home of Denver. I'm sure he'd love to go out there and play. And could be very good things for the Titans offensive line that, again, early on here, some encouraging signs.
So that also means, Joe, that Lloyd Cushenberry, who last played a game for the Tennessee Titans, he played 8 games last year, so you're talking halfway through the year, has torn his Achilles and has recovered from a torn Achilles and is back on the practice field before we will see L'Jarius Sneed on the practice field, which continues to just be absolutely amazing to me. And look, I know that the Titans coaches keep talking about L'Jarius Sneed and how they feel good about where he's at and he's getting closer and all these things, but he's still not on the field. Like, at some point, we're going to have to see him on the field, are we not? Like, everybody keeps just assuming he's going to be out there and he's going to play. And I can't do that. Like, I'm not assuming that until I see him get back out there on the field. It's amazing to me that Cushenberry has suffered a torn Achilles, completely rehabbed from it, and is now back on the practice field before we've seen hide nor hair of L'Jarius Sneed out there for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. I don't if L'Jarius Sneed practices again in his NFL career, I think that's almost an upset at this point, right?
I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's walking around. He was out there, and TD had a video of him, with the team. Seems to be walking just fine. But yeah, I think it's gonna be like, seriously, like week 1. And if it's not, then it's like, man. But I still kind of do expect it that like week 1, he'll be there. He'll be active, and then we'll see if he plays week 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, at this point, expecting him to be any sort of a presence in camp practice, I think you just shouldn't, right? I mean, again,
I agree with that, but I don't know how we go from like this guy can't get on the field to practice at all, not just limited at all. He can't get out there, and we expect him to get out there and play like an all-pro level cornerback. Like, that is, I'm sorry, I can't get there. Like, that to me is bordering on the scope of total unrealism.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how much so last camp he did do some stuff. Not a lot.
Not a lot.
But he did do some stuff. So, yeah, I suppose it's like between now and the opener, you'd think there'd be at least can you go out there and run? I mean, it feels like it's basically like every single time, that you do anything with this knee, you just get that much closer to like the knee not functioning anymore. So only do it during games. But yes, to your point, how do you perform at a high level? I mean, corner in some ways, if you know what you're doing, you can do it. But can you physically do that?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Can you even have like the wind? People talk about football shape. Like, can you be in football shape just like doing, cardio and stuff like away from the field? I don't know. It would seem to be kind of difficult.
You would think, and again, like I understand that, playing cornerback is not like playing, quarterback out there, right? Like there's a lot of it's pretty simple.
plug
Like
and
you
play,
line up
yeah.
and you look across the line of scrimmage, especially if you're in man coverage, and you're like, yeah, that's your guy right there. That's where you're going. Am I in man or am I in zone? Like, so, not to oversimplify it, but there's, it's an easier position to just go out there and play than some others in the NFL. So I understand that. Like, you do have to, like, practice is somewhat important, right? Like, you got to practice at some point. Otherwise, like, why does any cornerback in the league practice if it's not that important? So again, it's just amazing to me that we're talking about an offensive lineman that has suffered and recovered from a torn Achilles in the same time period since we've seen L'Jarius Sneed on the field in any way for the Tennessee Titans. Like, that's just amazing to me.
Yeah. No, if you could compare the two situations, it's pretty wild. It's just Sneed he has degenerative whatever the heck it is, knees, mysterious, but we know it's the knees, and so yeah, I mean it's just going to be a waiting game, and he'll be walking around, and we'll see if he ever gets out there. I mean, yeah, if I would have guessed on these two going into camp, it definitely would have guessed that we'd see Sneed before Cushenberry. So Cushenberry, surprisingly good, and Sneed, I don't know if it's surprisingly bad, but it's just more of the same story of, are you ever going to see the guy who was out there for Kansas City?
Yeah, and to play this out, I mean, we're a few weeks away from finding out. But what if week 1 rolls around and he's not ready? Like, what if he's not playing in week 1? What do we think at that point, right? Like, okay, so you've had your quad injury. Obviously, you've had your knee cleaned up again. And now week 1's rolled around. You've not practiced at all, and you can't play in week 1. Like, I'm not going to discount that as a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what that's going to look like. You're right. Maybe week 1 rolls around, he's ready to go, and he gets out there and he plays great. But the more that he is not out there, the more I just look at it and say, why in the world are we expecting him to go out there and play good football for this team?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be surprised if he doesn't play week 1. If he doesn't, then I think you almost have to just stop thinking about him as a factor, and it's just gonna be one of those just terrible trades, like Alex on the YouTube chat. Imagine having that second rounder back. The Chiefs knew and fleece the Titans. Well, Borgonzi's here to deal with the fallout of that move. But yeah, if after all of this, and again, you could have done the cleanup at any time, right? There's the quad with the knee, whatever is all happened there. The knee is a consistent thing. We know the knee, and the quad thing was it's long ago. It's about the knee. If you can't get geared up and participate in the opener this year, yeah, I mean, I think that we might be talking about someone whose career is done. Pretty close, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, in some ways, to me, it kind of feels like we're talking about that right now.
Could be,
but we'll see when week 1 rolls around what happens there. It's very difficult for me to imagine either the seriousness of what he's dealing with or the level of precaution that they're taking and what he's dealing with. It's hard for me to connect those dots and go from that to high-level football player 17 games for you this year. Like, it's a very difficult thing to get to. And I think for most Titans fans, they look at it and feel the same way of, I just don't know that L'Jarius Sneed is going to be something that you can really count on.
Yeah, high level 17 games would be a big upset. I'd like if you had a betting pool, I'd probably go like mid-level 8 games or something, which, hey, if he's decent for half the season, I mean, at least it's something for all the money you're paying him.
Yeah. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Ben McKee from GoVols 24/7 will join us coming up next. We'll get to the latest in fall camp for Tennessee, the quarterback battle, and some other drama that's going on around the program right now, which it wouldn't be a day that ends in Y if they didn't have a little bit of drama up there in Knoxville. We'll get into all that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hey, Robby Stanley here. Fantasy football is coming up, and Twin Peaks is your spot for your fantasy football draft party. Stay cool under pressure with 29-degree draft beers, bites for the whole team, plus a $50 bonus card for the commish, and an additional $5 bonus card for every drafter as well. You can call to book your draft party today at Twin Peaks in Cool Springs or Madison locations. Visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more information. Once again, that's twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. Just a few weeks away from the beginning of the college football season. And to help us talk a little bit more Tennessee, we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our friend Ben McKee from GoVols 24/7. Ben, good morning. How we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. I'm well. I hope y'all are doing well.
I'm doing great, man.
Good.
Appreciate you taking time to be with us. So, Ben, obviously, everybody is glued and watching the quarterback competition. They had the scrimmage over the weekend. I heard Josh Heupel talk about it after. Obviously, not ready to name a starter at the quarterback position right now. But what's kind of your best sense, your thoughts on the quarterback competition for Tennessee and where you think this is ultimately going to end up?
Well, I think it's ultimately going to end up with Joey Aguilar being the starting quarterback against Syracuse, which does not come as a surprise. I think most everybody had the expectation that he would be the starter on August 30th. But Tennessee's coaching staff was and is looking to give Jake Merklinger a fair shot in this thing, and George McIntyre for that matter as well. But of course, George is just a true freshman and could use 20 pounds on his frame, an additional 20 pounds on his frame. But it's been a true competition, and I think Saturday's scrimmage is the first time that we've seen some separation because Jake Merklinger, frankly, did not have a good day. He struggled in the scrimmage, and there has been separation because of that. I don't think that Joey Aguilar has gone out there and just lit the world on fire to create some separation. Although I think the competition has been set up for Joey to win it. And I mean by expectations, not in the sense of they are favoring Joey and not giving Jake a true chance, because I believe that they are. But I did think that if you had played a game on Saturday, I thought Jake would have been the quarterback, but you don't play a game on Saturday, and Jake played poorly in that scrimmage. And again, I don't know that Joey lit the world on fire, but I think there's been some separation because Jake did play poorly, not because Joey has grabbed the bull by the horns and ran with the job. And that's okay, because I think people need to understand and remind themselves of the situation that Tennessee and Joey Aguilar is dealing with. I mean, he's not supposed to be lighting the world on fire 2 weeks into camp, given the nature of how he arrived at Tennessee and how he's still learning the offense. I don't think that you're going to see Joey Aguilar's best football against Syracuse. I think you'll see his best football as we get deeper into September and into October. And I know that's not ideal, but that's just kind of the situation that Tennessee's in with the Nico Iamaleava fallout. So George McIntyre's impressing and turning some heads. I think that maybe he could receive some significant playing time down the road if Joey and Jake do not perform. But after Saturday, I do think there's been some separation because of how poorly Jake played, that Joey has definitely leaped out in front.
So the rest of the offense, Ben, we know tremendous loss at running back. We also know this offense runs the ball, and there's still talent there. Hopefully the offensive line's better. I'm really interested at receiver. I mean, Mike Matthews seems to be one of the key guys in this team, someone to really emerge as a go-to guy. What about the rest of that offense? Are there positive signs? Are there concerns?
Yes, both. There are a lot of positives with the offensive line and the running backs. I am a big fan of Tennessee's running back room. I don't think you're going to have the one bell cow. I don't think any one guy is going to win the SEC Offensive Player of the Year like Dylan Sampson did last season. But I think as a group, I think the overall rushing numbers are going to be in the same ballpark as last year's. I don't really foresee a drop-off in production, which feels weird to say because you had Dylan Sampson doing his thing last year, and he was so fun to watch, and he was phenomenal. But I really think this is going to be a strength in numbers type of situation, and I think they're going to have faith in all four guys. Certainly their top three, the fourth one being DeJuan Morris, the true freshman there from the mid-state, and I've heard good things about him coming out of the scrimmage over the weekend. He's just a young guy, kind of like George McIntyre, just kind of trying to find his footing. But it sounds like Star Thomas, the Duke transfer, had a really, really great day in the scrimmage. Deshaun Bishop has had a phenomenal offseason. He's had as good of an offseason as anybody. Peyton Lewis nursing a minor injury, it sounds like, nothing too serious, but he's also had a strong offseason. So I think between Star Thomas and Peyton Lewis and Deshaun Bishop, I think that's going to be one of the best trio of running backs in the country, quite frankly. So I don't think there's going to be a drop-off in production in the running game. And plus, it doesn't really matter who has been Josh Heupel's running backs. He's always run the football. Go back to his days at Missouri as the OC, go back to UCF as the head coach before Tennessee, and even at Tennessee, regardless of who's in the backfield, he's run the football. And you pair that with an offensive line that I do think is going to be better. The question is how much better. If the early returns on the scrimmage are any indication, it's going to be significantly better. I mean, we've heard good things about how Lance Hurd looked over the weekend. David Sanders Jr. looks the part. Wendell Moy at left guard. Really impressed over the weekend and has impressed since he transferred in from Arizona. And Jesse Perry, I'm sure you all have heard that story, another mid-state native who's really taken the program by storm, really developed his body and taken a hold of that right guard position. And now it's kind of coming down to center and who's going to win that job between William Satterwhite and Sam Pendleton, the Notre Dame transfer. So the offensive line had a great day on Saturday from what it sounds like. And that's against what should be a really, really good Tennessee defensive line. So I feel really good about the running game. And as I'm sure you all have discussed, or at least seen the discourse on social media, the passing game leaves a lot to be desired right now. And I think the receivers are as big of an issue as the quarterback. Just not a lot of depth there, a lot of unproven talent, a lot of inexperience. And they've had guys in and out of the lineup on top of that to where the passing game hasn't been able to establish a rhythm. So I'm really concerned about the passing game and the receivers, quite frankly. I do love the tight end position. I think that can be a real strength for Tennessee in the passing game, and it may have to be the strength in the passing game for them this year. But the receivers are a huge concern of mine, the biggest concern on the team, in my opinion, opposite of quarterback, of course.
So, Ben, we followed the Buu Carter situation pretty closely, and we know about, what happened prior to camp. He's been, in practice, but, it's been a slow build to get him back into the good graces with the team there. You got apparently his mom on social media, and that ignited Vol Twitter.
His mom and Vol Twitter
yesterday.
need to stop talking to each other.
It is going very poorly with his mom and Vol Twitter. So what do you just kind of make of this whole situation? Because honestly, like from the outside looking in, it kind of feels like this is not going to end well between Buu Carter and Tennessee at some point, whether that's now or after the season.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to end well. I will give Buu credit that he has strung together some days. It sounds like here to start camp, but can he string together a month worth of consistency? We will see. And if I'm being totally honest, I doubt that he can, or I have my doubts about him stringing together a couple of months of consistency. Maybe the fact that they play games this time of year, maybe that helps him do so. Maybe he just loves playing in games so much that he's willing to kind of grit through it. But he had a really poor offseason, just really poor decisions, showing up or not showing up, I should say. And it made his teammates feel a certain type of way. And that's why you had the situation going into camp of, hey, what is he going to even be on the team or what's going to happen here? And I think his teammates have been watching the situation very, very closely to see how it plays out. And he did get up and apologize in a team meeting that first week. And I think some teammates, and it just depends on your personality. I think some people have, okay, you apologized, I'll give you a second chance. You have other people that say, I hear you, but I want to see you prove it first, and kind of in wait and see mode with a raised eyebrow. So he's still trying to win over the coaches and the players, and so far so good, I suppose. Maybe there's been a little pushback here and there, but he's still practicing and continuing to do more and more. So you can't take that but as a good sign. But whether it's in the season ending poorly or after the season, with him transferring, just with the way that he has operated and those around him have operated, I would be surprised if Buu Carter plays for Tennessee next year. Just watching from the outside looking in, it doesn't seem to be like a happy marriage. It kind of seems like a separated couple at the moment that's trying to force themselves to be together. And frankly, I'm surprised that Buu is still on the team. I thought the right decision based off of how he conducted himself was to not allow him to be on the team. But Josh Heupel has trust in his locker room, and Buu is obviously a heck of a football player, so I think that gives him a longer leash, obviously. But yeah, I'd be surprised if this ends well. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but I just think the writing's kind of on the wall at this point. The Buu Carter and the people in his camp need to change some things, and they don't seem like they're very willing to do so.
And it seems like the camp doesn't realize that, like, you're not helping. You're not helping him big picture with all this stuff. But obviously, like you said, Ben, I mean, he's got to make better choices. Well, he's a guy who we also, before all this stuff, we're talking about, okay, is this guy going to be a part of the offense? And now I want to go back to the receiver situation. Let's take him out of it. Who is if there's a guy in that room that can emerge, needs to emerge, is the biggest hope? I mean, I mentioned Matthews earlier. Maybe it's somebody else, someone who can change the math on that receiving core. Who would it be?
No, it's got to be Mike Matthews. I mean, he has to live up to the 5-star potential and all the hype. I mean, Mike Matthews has to be wide receiver 1 in that room. And I think I did agree with your comment earlier, like he's one of the most important players on this year's team because of the lack of options in that receiver room. And he's not the answer by default. I mean, he's a heck of a talent as well. I mean, he was a 5-star for a reason coming out of high school. So Tennessee really needs it to click for him. And he's not the only guy in that room. You need Chris Brazzell to take a Dante Thornton Jr. type of jump going into his second year in the program. And so far, the early returns on that jump happening are not good. And I'm not even necessarily referencing the arrest. I don't think in the grand scheme of things that's a huge deal, but just the fact that he had an off-season procedure and he's coming off of that off-season procedure and working his way back into things very slowly. And he does not seem like a guy based off of how he was moving around, and he wasn't even running full routes yesterday, and he was kind of going through it at half speed. He did not look like a guy that's going to scrimmage on Friday for what will be Tennessee's last scrimmage of camp. So I don't consider that a good sign of him making that jump. Maybe he proves me wrong. Braylon Staley, another guy that's not been out on the practice field for the last week due to something that seems like a minor injury. He's another guy that's got talent. They really like him in the slot. He's a guy that Tennessee needs production out of this year as well. So Mike Matthews is certainly the first name that you look at in terms of who Tennessee needs to step up. But I think Braylon Staley and Chris Brazzell also have quite a bit of expectations on them, and Tennessee needs them to step up just as much. And I mentioned the tight end room earlier. I mean, I think that's going to have to be a real strength for Tennessee this year, just because of the lack of options in the receiver room. And going off of your question about who needs to step up kind of just in the passing game overall, not just that receiver. I mean, this has to be the year that Ethan Davis finally breaks out. They've always been a big fan of his game. And Miles Kitselman is no doubt the number one tight end in that room. I think Miles Kitselman is going to play in the NFL. Ethan Davis also has NFL potential, and he's could be a heck of a receiver and a heck of an option for Tennessee. So this is kind of a make it or break it year for Ethan Davis, and they need him to step up and finally live up to his potential as well.
Well, Ben, really good stuff, man. Appreciate so much you taking time to be with us this morning. Have fun throughout the rest of fall camp here, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great week.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Ben
Ben
McKee, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, talking all things Tennessee Vols from Go Vols 24/7. We'll get into the Vols coming up next. The AP poll is out in college football. We'll give an update on the quarterback battle, and we will get into the Buu Carter situation, which continues to just circulate through Vol Twitter. We'll get into all that next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Later today on 94.9 The Fan, the Sounds taking on Durham with the first pitch at 5:35. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Appreciate Ben McKee for being with us in the last segment. Joe, it does sound like not a great day for Jake Merklinger in the quarterback competition on Saturday.
Another prediction by me, circling the drain.
We'll see what
Restrepo, Merklinger to Restrepo. Maybe we can make that happen somewhere. Then go play catch.
2031, Merklinger to Restrepo.
Go play catch at Mount Juliet High School or something, huh?
It's going to look great out there at some point. It does not sound like the quarterback competition is gaining separation from the standpoint of somebody going out there and just taking it.
Yeah,
so
it's a default win.
Not
right
necessarily a great start to the fall camp for Tennessee on the offensive side of things. I will say that I agree with Ben from the standpoint of I do think their tight end group has a chance to be pretty good with Kitzelman and Davis and
Ethan Davis is super talented.
Yeah,
man.
so they've got a chance to be really good. Having said that, if the tight ends are leading the way this year at receiving, that's probably not going to end very well for Tennessee's offense and Tennessee's passing game. They need two guys at wide receiver to step up and be legitimate go-to guys. Mike Matthews is non-negotiable to me. He's got to be one of them. And then, I mean, the most likely one other than him to me is probably Staley in the slot. We'll see if he can stay healthy, but without really significant production from those two guys, the passing offense just isn't going to have enough if you don't have significant production from those two.
Yeah. I've heard some people talking about like their freshmen. It's just if you look at the history of Josh Heupel,
I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah, it's not something you should count on. They can be as talented as I know Squirrel White is the exception, but he was an extraordinary exception to where he came in as an early enrollee and they were blown away by his maturity, and so he was able to do that. But it's hard to. I mean, they may end up having to dip into that group, but that's not how you're gonna make your money this year if you're the Vols passing offense. I did not like, as much as maybe the thing that stands out about Ben's interview there is obviously the Buu Carter stuff, and we'll talk about it. I did not like the tone on Mike Matthews because right now you need to be hearing, oh, yep, that guy, that's the one. Now and that's exactly what they needed. And right now it clearly isn't happening to that level. Good info. The offensive line, that sounds promising. And I tend to agree. Like, they got talent at running back. They'll split it up more, but they will run the ball. But man, you might be sitting here talking about, well, probably sitting here talking about, a third straight year with an underwhelming passing attack in this offense, which is hard to even fathom. Not that anybody expected just Hendon Hooker's, or I hope not, Hendon Hooker's 2021 season to just be, or 2022 season to just be duplicated over and over again. But
Either one.
Not even.
Either one of those seasons. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But especially, obviously 22 was insane.
Yeah.
But like it's just nothing close to that. And it looks like it's going to be another year of that. I mean, I feel like Aguilar too, the one thing he certainly can do is he can run. And I wonder if like you lean in a little bit more on the QB run stuff than you have been.
You may have to run the ball 45 times a game this year. Like, maybe what it
ground and pound in the four wide offense.
I think you're certainly going to see, and we saw some teams try to do it last year, and I think there's a limitation on how much you can do it defensively given the way that, the wide splits and how you line up in this offense. But you're really going to see, Tennessee's receivers are going to get one-on-one shots. Like, you're going to have to go win them because you are going to see SEC defenses in particular really try to hone in on stopping the run here. And they had to go up against, the 3-3-5 a lot last year, and teams kind of adjusted that way. And, Arkansas in particular, that was a game where Tennessee could get nothing going. Yeah. And they, Dylan Sampson broke through on one drive there, but that was about it. Like, they did a pretty good job of slowing down the rushing attack, and Tennessee just couldn't make them pay trying to throw the football. Like, you're going to see teams try to do that to this offense. And when you get those one-on-one shots, you're either going to have to go win it or you're going to have to go up and go get a 50-50 ball and come down with the ball. Like if you can't do that in this offense this year, you're not going to be very good.
No. And, look, we've been talking, I know that we talk on the YouTube chat about Glenn Ellerbe and the offensive line. Well, there are some guys who appear to be developing. Again, we'll see. You got to do it during games, right? But at least there's some positive signs. Yeah, man, this offensive staff, like Mike Matthews should be, like he should be ready to ball
ready
right
to
now.
go. Yeah.
You should have guys, I know they have recruited off of their success. Well, you got to recruit, and then you got to yield the benefits and yield the production off that stuff too. So it's a huge year, I think, for OC down of that offensive staff.
Joe Buu Carter, he's out there at practice. We've talked about the situation with him heading into camp. And, nothing on the field with him since then has really changed. Like, he's been in practice. He's not been fully involved yet. He's got clearly a process that they have designated for him that he's got to go through before he gets there. He's got to play football here in a couple weeks. So I would hope that they're getting to the point where he starts to get in that process. But now apparently his mother is all over Facebook, and she was talking about everything.
Is that Facebook that all that stuff is happening on?
She was talking about everything from Deion Sanders and his program to how she's not a Vol fan and she can't wait to leave and all this other stuff. And it is generating a lot of reaction on Vol Twitter. I said it with Ben. It feels like this is not going to end well between Tennessee and Buu Carter. Maybe he plays through the season and plays good football for them. I will be at this point stunned if he's back next year in a Tennessee uniform based on everything that's happened to this point. But how do you view the Buu Carter situation and now Vol Twitter just posting screenshot after screenshot of Buu Carter's mother in the comments that she's making on social media?
Yeah. Well, I think that you guys are probably right. He's not going to be here next year. Is he here this year? Does he matter this year? Does he help this year? He's a tremendous talent. This team needs him. So can he get his stuff in order? I mean, he's really, he's gonna hurt himself. He's a guy who has the type of ability, can play in the NFL someday, but this is like, you have to be serious. You can't be an unserious person. And obviously the offseason was terrible for him. I would also say a lot of Vol Twitter has made the point to his mom, look at what you're doing to your kid. If you as Vol Twitter, you don't have to get into these battles with his mom and make it less likely for him to, you know what I mean? Like, it's a big circle of toxicity on the internet. And it's like, I'm not saying that you're wrong, Vol Twitter, and certainly no one will ever control Vol Twitter, because there's some people who are part of Vol Twitter who I can't believe that they can actually type anything on a computer.
Yep.
But those people also make it worse, by the way. Like, it's just this. If you somehow isolate them and put them off in their own little private chat and let the world go on with its business, it'd be great. But that can't happen. So she's going to keep going, and then some people are going to keep going at her, and it's just going to make everybody like each other less.
Yeah, it's not going to end well. But
good times.
I mean, like, you almost, from the Tennessee side of it, like, you almost kind of have to view Buu Carter this year as like, all right, he's like a mercenary, and can we get one good year out of him before he leaves? Like, that's probably how I'd be looking at it if I was Josh Heupel. So I don't know. I don't know what that's going to end like.
He's obviously, and I totally agree with what Ben said, which is like, there's some players who just wouldn't be here anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
He is. Why? Because he can actually change the math on this team. He's that good. But at this point, it's like you wanted it to kind of, after the apology, then to be like, and he's doing all the right things, and it just doesn't sound. It just, some things just aren't registering with him.
Yeah, and we didn't even get to Jermon McCoy, but it's looking pretty positive for Jermon McCoy right now for Tennessee. So we'll see what that means for week 1 against Syracuse, but just a few weeks away from that when they open their season coming up on August the 30th. I saw a very interesting quarterback comparison made yesterday with Cam Ward that I think is worth bringing up and discussing coming up next. We will do that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. We will have Frank Schwab from Yahoo Sports joining us at 8 o'clock. We will get into all things NFL with him. The annual quarterback tiers are out at The Athletic that Mike Sando has put together, and we will go through those a little bit later this hour as well. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up at 7:45. So lots of things to get to for the rest of the program here as well. A lot of your thoughts still coming in on the Buu Carter situation. We'll continue to take those at 615-737-1025, our phone number. I was scrolling around yesterday, Joe, and I heard some interesting conversation as it relates to Cam Ward. First off, I don't know if you saw this, but Dan Orlovsky did basically a film breakdown of Cam Ward and his performance against Tampa Bay and went through some of the things he liked, some of the things he didn't like. And it's a really interesting watch. If you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go check it out, on Orlovsky's Twitter account. But he was basically talking a lot about like post snap. So the defense shows you one picture before the snap, you snap the ball, and a couple reps where Cam Ward did a really good job of recognizing the defense getting into something different after the snap. And then maybe one snap where he almost threw that interception on the second drive, where he did not do such a good job of recognizing what the defense was doing after the snap, and the footwork got a little loose and all those things. So, obviously Orlovsky, being a former NFL quarterback, can break that sort of stuff down to a level where, you and I and other people can't do it like that. So I thought it was really interesting from Orlovsky on that point. But Orlovsky was also on with NFL Live, and he and Marcus Spears got into an interesting discussion between Cam Ward and a comparison to another NFL quarterback. Here's what they had to say yesterday on NFL Live.
I know he was the first overall pick, but the Titans have found their franchise quarterback. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, I saw a little bit of Jordan Love in Cam Ward.
Sure.
I saw a little bit of that ability to throw the ball kind of unorthodox. The mechanics aren't necessarily perfect, but you can see the talent. But the most important thing that I saw in this game, and what I look for rookies in preseason, is poise. I didn't see him really panic at all during this game. You don't know going into your first NFL game what the speed is going to be like. You don't have an idea of what the defenses are going to do. Are they going to hold back? Are they going to try to pressure and blitz the quarterback? It never seemed like he was out of sorts. I got to give my big dog Woody some credit because he already mentioned it. The offensive line did a really good job. But we've even seen rookies behind offensive linemen that halftime. I watched Dan do tape after tape after tape and ask the question, why is the youngster bailing already?
Yeah.
Why is he starting to lead the pocket already? I didn't see that with Cam Ward. That was the thing that I enjoyed about watching him, was the command. And he plays, y'all, I don't know if y'all felt it, he plays with a confidence, and we talked about it in college. You don't know how it's going to translate when you get to the NFL.
Yeah.
It looked the exact same when he was at Miami, as far as just the confidence and feeling like I can make any play I want to on the field right now.
So that was Marcus Spears yesterday on ESPN talking about the confidence, the poise, made the comp to Jordan Love as kind of the play style of what he saw from Cam Ward. What do you make of that, Joe, as you hear Orlovsky and Marcus Spears kind of break that down?
Yeah, I mean, I think I guess the one counter to that would be, like you said, I mean, Orlovsky broke down, and it wouldn't be a panic moment, but I mean, that play, the near pick, and then the earlier one where he kind of bailed out and threw it away.
Yeah.
I mean, those are examples of actually you should have hung in there, or you should have at least gotten your feet set, given it another look, whatever he thought he saw on the near pick, right? I mean, like Orlovsky broke down. I mean, his feet were parallel. Like, he did not step into that throw at all.
Yep.
So those are two examples of him being speeding up too much, being a little bit too fast. But I generally agree. I thought he looked poised for sure. The Jordan Love comparison, that's interesting. I know someone already has texted and said, if Ward turns out to be Jordan Love, that's extremely disappointing. Really? If he turns out to be Jordan Love, that's extremely disappointing?
I mean,
I would tend to disagree harshly with that.
We went through the numbers and like in the draft
He
process.
can only be
of-
Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, like in the draft process of like what would be an acceptable outcome for the number one pick, and people hear like Baker Mayfield, and they're like, oh my God, Baker Mayfield.
Right.
And then you look at Baker, and we talked about
Baker Mayfield
in
last
Tampa
year.
Bay.
Yeah.
And then you look at the numbers, and you're like, oh, yeah, Baker Mayfield's pretty good in Tampa Bay.
Do that for 10
mean-
years, and you are your first ballot.
So, look, I understand that when you're talking about your number one overall pick, the player that comes to mind is not Jordan Love. It's Mahomes and Allen and Jackson and those guys. And we'll see. Maybe Cam Ward is that. Well, I don't know that we're necessarily going to find out the answer to that this year, but over the next few, we should. So we'll see what happens on that front. I mean, Jordan Love's been pretty good to this point, so I don't know that I would dismiss that out of hand. But
Yeah.
I think the point is not even really the production; it's the play style. Like Jordan Love can make a lot.
You've
of
watched
throws
Jordan Love a lot.
off platform, and he doesn't necessarily have the greatest footwork, and he doesn't necessarily have the greatest mechanics, but he can make some throws that not a lot of quarterbacks can make. And I do think Ward is kind of similar in that regard of like, you look at his footwork, and we talked about this in the draft process, and I heard, Jake and TD talking about this yesterday. There were some reps that Cam Ward had in college where he didn't even keep his feet going. Like he just stood flat-footed in the pocket and just slung it. And that's not what you're looking for. Like it's not what you want.
Like Joe Milton used to do that stuff too.
Yeah,
and I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
but,
and that's not going to work in the NFL. So you can't just be totally reckless with your footwork is. Well, I think the overall point, other than the numbers from Jordan Love, which by the way are pretty good, and there's a reason that all the NFL evaluators, which we'll get to at the quarterback tiers too, think that he's a certain level of player. The point is like Ward and his different arm angles, the velocity on the ball, he doesn't always have to be in the perfect throwing spot to make some plays in the NFL level. So I think that was kind of what Marcus Spears was getting at with that, not just the player for player comparison.
Yeah. So stylistically, it's interesting, and I can see it. I hadn't thought about that, but it makes sense. But then most people are sane on the text line saying, yes, oh my God. If you're a Titans fan and someone said to you right now, okay, you can sign up, you get Jordan Love. And again, we don't know where Jordan Love's career is going to go. I mean, it did take him some time.
It's a big year for him this year.
Like Weston Clark said, it did take him a long time. And I agree. You don't want it to be that with Cam Ward, but there is a difference also in experience, like right in reps banked between those two coming in for sure.
Oh, and he's going to start coming in. Yeah,
exactly. And Love was not ready, but also he did not play out nearly as much college football as Cam Ward did.
Correct.
If you're a Titans fan and they said you can sign up right now, Jordan Love's career, basically the same thing. Sign it in blood. Cut yourself and sign it. What are you talking about?
Jordan Love.
This guy's like injury concern in a tier 2 QB. You draft somebody 1-1 to be tier 1. Sure, you'd love someone to be tier 1. If you can have a tier 2 quarterback for their entire career, yes. Are you crazy? What are we talking about here?
A tier 2 quarterback just won the Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah. That's the point, right? The point is to win the Super Bowl, right?
Super Bowl. That's what it is. It's
to
go win.
Get real.
Again, I understand it. You want him to be Mahomes. Mahomes doesn't grow on trees. You want him to be Allen. Look, again, maybe he will be. Again, and people are getting too caught up in the Jordan Love of Marcus Spears just being like, well, that's exactly what he is. The exact same stats is what it's going to be. He's talking about the way they play.
Right.
So it's not even really the number part.
We have twisted the conversation.
Right. But again, like I would probably take both from Cam Ward, right? Like if that's the style you play, cool. It's not perfect. But just the way that they can deliver the football. It doesn't always look pretty, but and look, every now and then Jordan Love has some disasters out there. Like every now and then he will throw some just brutal interceptions, but he will also every now and then just make some plays where you're like, oh my God, how did he make that play? And I have a feeling that that's what we're going to see from Cam Ward too, right? Like there will be times where Cam Ward is going to throw some brutal picks this year. There will probably be a couple games where he also makes 2 or 3 throws where you're like, I don't know how many guys can make that throw. I can tell you right now, that's going to happen with Cam Ward this year.
Yeah, I'd agree. To me, then you fill in the gaps with on time, accurate, more than not, enough, to
Yeah.
move the chains and score points. Ed says, how many times will Titans fans pull the plug on Ward? More or less times than Robby did with Jordan Love? Ooh, interesting question.
It's a good question. I mean, I got pulled the plug with Jordan Love one time. No, maybe twice. I think twice I pulled it. So
he played that game against Kansas City. It was like, this guy's never going to be an NFL QB.
That was the first time I pulled the plug.
See, that's the thing. I mean, Cam Ward is much, to me, is much further along than that.
I would agree.
Doesn't mean that he's going to end up being good, but I'm just saying, like, I think some of those growing pains, he had those in college.
Yeah, I would totally agree with
some
that.
You can't have anywhere else but the NFL, but I think Jordan Love he was deficient in reps.
No doubt. And, TD just texted me, and he's right. He talked about that with us on the show. Like, TD was making the Ward to Love comparison at the early part of this year before the Titans ever drafted it. And we talked about that with him on the show. So, like, again, people are getting too caught up in the numbers part of it, which, by the way, numbers still pretty good, Jordan Love. But it's the style of play. Yeah. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of, like, similar throws that those guys can make. So, again, what is that going to mean for Cam Ward's career? I don't know. But it is going to be, like, the way that they play. It was really interesting watching, like, Orlovsky break that down yesterday, just what he saw from him in his first start.
This texter, you need to give me your name so I can start, screaming your name all over the airwaves. He says, yeah, tier 2 QB just won the Super Bowl. He just so happens to be one with a very unique skill set and an unbelievable roster. Okay. So would you take Jalen Hurts as a quarterback?
Yeah. Are we to the point with Cam Ward where it's got to be Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow? You don't want him?
Right. Like, I understand he was 1-1. There's plenty of 1-1s who suck. Okay? So, I mean, be realistic. The point is to win a championship.
615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot of your thoughts to get to on this. We'll do that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. This week's Nashville Best Deal is Fat Bottom Brewing Company. Join Fat Bottom this Saturday for their Lucky 13 anniversary party at 800 44th Avenue North in Nashville. A full day of casino-themed fun, live tattoos from Black 13, face painting, balloon art games, and, of course, ice-cold beer. Get a $100 gift card, half off while supplies last at theGameNashville.com/deals. Plus, don't miss their Lucky 13 anniversary party this Saturday at Fat Bottom Brewing Company. Taking your thoughts, a lot of different thoughts on the Jordan Love comp that Marcus Spears threw out there yesterday.
Yeah, and again, your point was his style, and now we've gone into, that wouldn't be a good enough QB. Like Megan, great point by Megan on the text on driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com says Tannehill's enough to get the Titans AFC title game and a 1 seed. Who wouldn't want to love at QB? Right. So I would say Jordan Love at his best level. Yeah, I did think 2 years ago, I was like, this guy might be stumbling upon some MVP soon. I don't know if that's the case, but he's really good.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again,
it's a big year for him.
What does that have to do? Well, it has to do with the thing that people always underrate because people always overrate one person. It has a lot to do with also what's around him.
Yeah, I mean, Love was hurt a lot last year, and he had a receiving core around him that led the NFL in drops. So there's also that you have to factor in. He didn't, I also would say that last year he did not play consistently to the same level that he played at the end of his first year as a starter. So, it's all in the eye of the beholder. Like, Love's a good quarterback. I think we've seen that at this point. He's a good quarterback that you can win with. Is Ward going to be that? Is Ward going to be better than that? I mean, obviously, if I'm a Titans fan, yeah, I would want Cam Ward to be better than Jordan Love. Of course you would. But I'm just saying, like, in the world of reality, it's not binary. Like, it's not Cam Ward is going to be Patrick Mahomes or he's going to be Tim Boyle. Like, there's a lot of ground. Sorry, Tim Boyle. There's a lot of ground in between those two things. And, I mean, go look at recent first overall picks at quarterback. There's a wide margin as to what those look like.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, everybody would like their quarterback to be the best quarterback of all time. I'd like gold chunks of bars of gold in my stocking every year. This texter who continues to not give me the name, very disappointed in you, says, God forbid I'd like my 1.1 QB to be a tier 1 guy. Would I take Love at this point? Sure, because it's been so bad around here, but damn. Okay, so again, 1-1. Bryce Young, actually, I'm kind of excited for him moving forward. Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Jameis Winston, Sam Bradford, Jamarcus Russell, Alex Smith, David Carr, Tim Couch, Drew Bledsoe, Jeff George, Vinny Testaverde, Steve Bartkowski. I'm not going to go into the 50s, but you get the point. Yeah, sure. 1-1, you're like, man, I really hope. But we also talked a million times before the draft happened that the top quarterback in this draft would not have been the top quarterback in the last draft or in some other drafts. It was not a great quarterback year. You got to keep that in mind too, right?
You do.
Jordan Love, again, cut yourself and sign it in blood.
Well, and Ward, like, I watched him play the other day, and again, like, I didn't walk away from the preseason game against Tampa Bay thinking to myself, oh my gosh, they found a superstar out there, right? Like, I didn't walk away thinking that, this time 2 years from now, it's going to be Cam Ward and Josh Allen in the AFC title game. But yeah, he made one throw right over the outstretched arm of a defender, right in the breadbasket of Calvin Ridley. And it's like, yeah, it's a pretty darn good throw, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a good throw. Now, on a week-to-week basis, strike zone repeatedly. Can you hit it? You've talked about that a billion times. That, to me, is still what's most important in playing quarterback in the NFL.
And are you consistently seeing it correctly and anticipating what's going to happen after the snap? Are you not by, whatever, what is it, year 3 for Anthony Richardson? Again,
Correct.
Like what appears to be a very simple read on your protection, not making the read so that you get crushed.
Right.
I mean, stuff like that, that's – we're just gonna have to see. Some of that has to do with coaching, but also it's just the seeing it, processing it, and then getting the ball to where it needs to be. That those wow throws, there's a lot of failed quarterbacks who also made wow throws.
Well, that's another part of this too. Like, as much of a LaFleur hater as I've been at times, I don't think there's any doubt that he and Love have been very good together, right?
Yeah.
somewhere else would Love be as good as he is in Green Bay? I don't know. Now, Green Bay also doesn't have, at least not yet, a number one wide receiver. So the Titans got to find that too. Like, Ridley's 30. So how long is Ridley going to be that level of a guy? Like, I think there's a chance Ridley could have a really good year this year. And, but at some point you're going to have to find, if Ward is that guy, you're going to have to find that receiver that comes up with him and is that combo that you can rely on for years. How many more years does Ridley have of being a number one guy? I don't know. And like, even as good as Ridley is Ridley at this stage of his career still a legitimate number one receiver? And we've talked about this. Or is he a really, really, really good number two?
Yeah. I think he's a really, really good number two. And if you really want Cam Ward to be great, obviously a lot of that is on him, right? But yeah, do you find a true number one receiver for him to grow with? Is Dan Moore your long-term left tackle, or is Dan Moore a 2-year patch job? Is J.C. Latham, is he a right tackle? Okay, so you need to find that long-term left tackle. Tony Pollard's a nice player, but you probably need to find that long-term running back. Like, these are the things
a lot still left to be done.
That's all the stuff it's not as important as his actual development, but I don't think he's going to be able to have that kind of success if you don't do those things well.
And we brought up LaFleur. Like, does Brian Callahan have any clue what he's doing, right? Like, does Brian Callahan, is he a good offensive coach? Is he a guy that has that feel as a play caller? Is he a guy that is a game planner, puts your quarterback in the best spot to succeed? I still don't think we know the answer to all that yet. And we're going to find out more this year. But if he doesn't show some of that this year, then you're talking about probably at some point here another coach that you're coming up with if you're Cam Ward. So all that factors into 615-737-1025. Titans have made a couple roster moves that we'll get into coming up next. Plus, the quarterback tiers are out. We will get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Text from Scott Stanley, my father.
Uh-oh.
Directed at you.
Oh, no.
Said, hey, I was doing something. I heard this wrong. Did Joe just say that the point was to win championships while simultaneously holding the position of chief hater of everyone who's done that? Brady, Montana, and Jordan.
You know what? That is I think that's a fair point, but I don't think that's exactly. I don't think that's an exact contradiction. Is it? I mean, well, first of all, we all agree that the point is to win. Like, the point is to win championships, not have a quarterback who compiles numbers, right?
That is correct.
But my point is, if Dan Marino was in the spot that Joe Montana was in, he'd have as many or more championships.
That's fair.
So, but I mean, that is a fair. I mean, I like that. That's a lot better than when Stilly tried to get me on stuff. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Your dad really likes to stick the knife in there. No, that's a fair point. But it is, right? I mean, I don't think that just championships tell the story. If they did, then again, Nick Foles is a better quarterback than Tom Brady.
It's true.
Which we would never agree with. Meanwhile, on the YouTube chat, he says, y'all really believe Drake May and Michael Penix are better than Cam Ward? Yes, that's what we said. What?
I don't know. Maybe.
They might be.
I have no idea.
But all I said was that he wouldn't have been the top pick in the last draft. We were and some people think he would have gone. He would have gone after, obviously, May.
He would have gone after Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May for sure.
He would have gone after those guys. I think the highest he would have been in the last draft, for better for worse, is fourth. Doesn't mean he couldn't be.
He
might be the best of them all. But again, we're just going on the evaluation to the point you get to the draft, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, when did Lamar Jackson go? He was the last pick of the first round.
Very end of the first round. Yes.
So
yes.
Go look at the quarterbacks taken before him there. Some have worked out very nicely. Some have not. So just keep that in mind. And what was that, the 2018 draft? I believe that's when it was.
Yeah.
2018. So Baker went first, and he has rebounded nicely in Tampa Bay. We would all take Lamar Jackson over Baker Mayfield. Josh Allen went number 7. Josh Rosen went number 10, right? I mean, yeah. So just because you're drafted a certain place doesn't mean that it's not going to work out. But I think no doubt that he would have gone probably 4th at best.
And right now, again, we didn't say anything of the sort, Jay Bryant, but right now, I'd probably, if I had to, right now, you must pick a stock. Drake May's career, Cam Ward's career, I'd go Drake May. I don't have like super high confidence that he's going to be great, but I got a little bit more, I think, evidence that he will be.
The Vrapester steering the ship,
and you got the Vrapester.
Developing quarterbacks.
They look pretty good over there. Travion Henderson with that kick return. I'm like, jeez, man.
They look good.
Tom Brady was
listening to their press conference, and it was like 5 minutes before somebody actually asked him a question. They just ran off a bunch of statements.
Do we have that, by the way? Do we have the Vrabel snap off? We got to make sure we always play the Vrabel snap offs on people. We're going to get a lot of them this year. Apparently
so.
What's up with the Patriots press corps?
Are you trying to ask and answer a question at the same time? Is that what you're doing?
We'll get it before the show ends. It was another beauty from the Vrabester.
The quarterback tiers are out. Mike Sando does this every year at the Athletic. So we've gone through this before, and it's from, every year he comes out with this list. It's 50 NFL coaches and executives making this list. So it's not Mike Sando just throwing this out there and ranking the quarterbacks. And it's always interesting to me to see, how do coaches, executives view like what tier 1 looks like, tier 2. And I think this one was go all the way down to tier 5.
It's a one-person tier, which is pretty hilarious.
It is. It's pretty funny. And I'm looking at that now, and going to be interesting to see how things go in Cleveland this year. The tier 1 quarterbacks that Sando has put together this year, the first 4 will be to the surprise of absolutely no one: Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I think everybody on earth would agree that those guys belong in tier 1.
And this is Lamar Jackson's. This is his first time in tier 1.
That is correct.
But yes, I believe that's the clear tier 1. I think most people would agree with that.
There is another quarterback that is in tier 1 who is 5th on this list, and that is Matthew Stafford, who has jumped up from tier 2 last year to tier 1 this year. What do you make of that? Matthew Stafford joining the ranks of Jackson, Burrow, Mahomes, and Allen in tier 1.
I don't know. I don't get it. And you got this a D coordinator says, here's a quote about I don't, he's 37 years old. He's not at the best he's ever been.
No.
I mean, they could be good this year if he's even able to walk. This D coordinator says, quote, I guarantee all your 1 votes for Stafford came from offensive coaches. Offensive coaches kiss this guy's ass all the time, especially guys from that system. He's really good, though. I'd take him over Herbert. I'd take him over Herbert because he's a better passer with better timing. And Sando does point out that there was 3 GMs, an assistant GM, 3 former GMs, 4 other personnel execs, and then 7 DCs actually gave him top votes. So, you know, I don't know. It's just it's weird to me that he would be tier 2 all these years, and now he's tier 1.
Yeah, very interesting. At 37 years old, and again, you know, the current situation that he's dealing with has nothing to do with it, but it is going to be interesting to see if he can, you know, get out there and move this year with the back that's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, they could be special if he can be close to what he used to be.
Yep. Tier 2, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert, who's number 7 on this list, which
perennially overrated.
Jared Goff, CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy. There's your tier 2.
Yeah, I think Purdy's too high. He's good. He's very good. I think he's a tier 3. Stroud and Jalen Hurts tied for 9th. In my opinion, I think Jalen Hurts is flat out better than CJ Stroud. I guess, I understand that Jalen Hurts, they have a great team. They run the ball. They have great receivers. So there's a lot around him. But it's also hard to ignore like his actual performance in the biggest games, right?
Yeah.
So I just think that that's a little bit high for Stroud and a little bit low for him. I mean, I would put Jalen Hurts over Herbert and Goff, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think that's fair. And again, I understand that, when you start talking about Jalen Hurts, people are immediately going to bring up the roster. And there's no doubt. I mean, the roster is the best in football. So that is part of the discussion when it comes to Jalen Hurts. He also, we dock quarterbacks all the time for not rising to the occasion in big moments. Go look at his numbers for the 2 Super Bowls he's played in.
Right.
Go look at them. They're unbelievable.
Phenomenal.
Like, he's been crazy good in the big moments for Philadelphia. So
you
have to get praise for that?
No, if you go through any quarterbacks in there, that have played in 2 or like their first 2, and then compare their numbers to what he did, it's tremendous. Another, I think, interesting thing about this, Robby, is I like that Sando did this. He did the change from last year, right?
Yeah.
So, like Darnold, to no one's surprise, he's up 9 spots. Baker Mayfield up 8.
Yeah.
My guy Bryce Young, here we go, up 4. Let's go. I really love that you've got a combined for our beloved. This is our Colts. This is our team. If you combine Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, it's a minus 13 combined, minus 7 for Daniel. Oh my God, you isolated the nay. That's tremendous. And then Anthony Richardson's minus 6. Those two together. Let's get
pull that out all day. Look how proud of himself he is in there.
Oh my God! Please, okay, give us another one of those. That is an awesome nay. Good Lord. So anyway, minus 6 for Richardson, minus 7 for Jones, minus 13 combined. How inspiring for Colts fans that you got yourself a minus 13 at the QB spot. Rodgers, minus 9. Yep. My guy, Kirk Cousins.
Your guy's the biggest faller in here. Minus 12 for Kirk by himself.
That's the thing. I think he was tier 2 last year, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
You like that?
Man, Ian's ready to go.
Yeah, he's
We're ready.
I'm just gonna start throwing out random names.
Ian's ready to go.
Yul Brynner. Just like, see if you got a sound bite from him.
I mean,
Julia Roberts.
The tier 3 guys on this. A lot of quarterbacks from last year that I think could really kind of either vault up this year or go down. I mean, you've got Bo Nix, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, kind of all there together. So we'll see where that goes. And by the way, if you're wondering where Cam Ward is on this, he does not put the rookies in this exercise, given the fact that they have not played yet.
Yeah,
so.
which is a good thing to do. I hate these QB rankings that other outlets do, and it's like they just randomly put Caleb Williams 21.
Yeah,
really?
like, really?
Okay.
And played yet. So there's that.
And then we watched it play.
Let's head to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Mark in Nashville to the program. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, how you doing, Robby?
What's
Joe?
up?
What's up, buddy?
Joe, I still see you saying something about my boy Joe Money again. If Dan Marino played in that offense, he could. Joe, stop it, man. Stop it, Joe. You know I'm going to defend Joe Money just like I'm going to defend you, Joe. You know how I am. I'm listening to you, Joe. You slipping.
I mean, I don't know why this is so controversial. I mean, I got Ed continuing to attack me like I need a support group. I mean, like it's you guys are allowed to think Montana's better. It's fine. This is a worthwhile argument, I think, right?
Clearly.
Yeah.
Some people don't think so.
Yeah, and I like arguing with you about it, Joe. I really do. The way you're going to come at it, I'm going to come right back at you with it.
I appreciate
it.
But
yeah, I know you do, man. I do too. But I kind of that list you got out, Robby, that you just read. I agree, but I don't agree. You made a comment just a minute ago about Jalen Hurts, Joe. Now you got Lamar, that's a 2-time MVP, but he's never been to the big game. I got to put Hurts in there at number 5 right now. Like you say, he's in the best roster, best team in football. I don't think Hurts gets the respect that he should get. Him in the top 5 and stuff. And after him, I'd have to put Jared Goff. I'd have to move Stafford back a little bit. Joe, I know you ought to be a Detroit fan, Joe. You never gave Goff his just due. He had a lot of injuries that happened to him. Like Detroit could have easily, if they had home field advantage, they could have easily got to a Super Bowl, I believe, Joe.
They could have.
And Goff has been to one. He had lost
70
points.
Won
one. Yeah, he hadn't won a Super Bowl. But he's at least been to a Super Bowl. I think Goff's better than what people give him credit for. Now, this year, we're going to see what he does without Ben Johnson.
Yep.
But before I go, I wish the Titans fans, I'm not a Titans fan. I'm really not. I want to see them do good. Give Cam a chance, man. Like Robby said earlier, look how Jordan Love has grown with Matt LaFleur. 2 years ago, Robby, your team went on a hell of a run, and they just about got to a Super Bowl. Love was hot. Matt LaFleur was red hot calling those plays. I really gained a lot of respect for Matt LaFleur. Now, can Brian Callahan develop that kind of rapport with Cam Ward, get Cam on a run? Now, I'm not saying Super Bowl or whatnot. I'm saying get him to a point where Titans possibly could maybe squeeze into a playoff. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's going to take that time, but Green Bay has playmakers, too, that the Titans don't. So that's kind of working against Cam. But I'm getting ready to go, Joe. Joe, leave Joe Money alone, man. Respect that man, Joe.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate
Respect
it, buddy.
him. All right. See y'all later, man.
I respect him. I think Marino and Elway are Joe Montana is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Same with Tom Brady. I don't think they suck.
You weren't monitoring your tone very much.
Yeah, you really weren't. You really weren't.
I actually thought he was in the studio when oh my God, where's Scar?
Where'd he go?
He's got a little camera in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Ah!
Got the Rexrode with Joe Rexrode coming up next. Frank Schwab from Yahoo will be with us at 8. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Play grab ass for 8 hours.
I would let them pee around the field.
Oh, there you go. Chef Boyle throws to the D. I checked every box. Cut yourself and sign it in blood.
I would take Manning blood and drip it around the Titans practice field if I could.
Ain't nobody running the ball on us this year. It's like, shut up.
Yeah, you do. That's a lie. When the fact that you had to preface that and say, I don't always watch you, means you watch me.
Easy on the secretions.
Anything.
You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry.
It is that time of the day. Time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. Joseph, with another beautiful job done by Ian Safar in the background. I turn the floor over to you.
As usual, I have to now ask.
How do I turn the floor?
What's that?
I just said I'd turn the
turn the
floor to
floor.
you. I will turn the floor to you.
Turn the floor over to you. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, right. Sure. But not this chair. Cannot touch this chair.
No,
Do not touch this
There's
chair.
a chair in here. We cannot move.
It has marker all over it. Shout out to D-Mace. So
Don't touch this chair.
I got to ask the Vrabel thing there. Who the heck was he talking to? What was he talking about?
He's talking to Paul, of course.
Paul, I don't always watch you.
Yeah, he was like, you were doing something over the field, and Vrabel was like, well, Paul prefaced it by saying, I don't always watch you.
Yeah, you do, Paul.
Then he was like, well, you know, the fact that you had to say that means you watch me.
Every breath you take. All right, I got too many rants. I'm going to cram into one. First of all, let's talk about coaching. I think we need to play something because it's really interesting. And I actually shout out to Bussin' with the Boys that I saw this shared by them, and a lot of other people shared it too. Pete Carroll asked about, and I don't know where he was. He was giving a speech somewhere with a lot of young people, and they asked him about the difference between the Belichick style, because this kind of relates to the Brian Callahan, I think, the sort of the new age coach and the older, but I don't know, maybe that's too simplistic. Let's hear Pete Carroll talk about his coaching philosophy.
Yes.
I was wondering if you could compare and contrast sort of your philosophy and style of coaching with the other most successful coaches like Belichick we've talked
Good.
about.
Yeah, that's really good.
Other sports like Popovich, Phil Jackson, etc.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a whole array of guys, and they're all different. Okay. Let's go to Belichick. Okay. Okay. Let's just start off with this one. That back in the day, you can picture what it's like when an army brings in a bunch of grunts for the first day and they show up on the scene, and all the civilian guys, they get off the bus and they what do they do to them? What happens to those guys? The first thing, people start yelling at them, right? They start yelling at them, and they start berating them immediately, and they get their clothes off. They put them in all the same clothes. Do they cut their hair? Yes. Shave the hair, make them all look exactly the same, and just rip their ass until they just break them down, and the guys just said, okay, I give up. Whatever you want me to do. That's the extreme illustration of authoritarian, coercive way of teaching and leading a group. It's the most famous, the most successful way in history. It's the one that people understand the best. You beat people down, make them scared, just do what I tell you, don't do anything else, don't take any chances, just do what I tell you to do, and then that leader can count on what you can do. Okay, that to me, that's the extreme authoritarian way of teaching. That ain't the way we teach. Okay, it's also not the way that special forces units are taught. They're taught, now they beat the hell out of those guys. We relate a lot to the process that those guys go through. They beat the hell out of those guys, so they'll learn to persevere, and they can hang through anything. There's nothing that they can't withstand. But they also teach them to think. They teach them to respond to the training that they encounter during the time they're there, so that when it comes time to function, they can't just do only what the guy tells them to do, but they can think for themselves, they can react on their feet, they can respond, and if they're really gifted, they can make great choices and great decisions to do things that one guy could never accomplish otherwise. In special forces, they do just 7 or 8, 9 guys. And they'll take on hundreds of guys, and they can whip their ass because they know how to function together and work together. And they outthink, they outsmart, they outreact. That's the end of the spectrum that we're trying to teach on and coach on. We're at the other end of it. We're trying to celebrate the individual with extraordinary commitment to practice. Practice is everything to us. We work our guys' ass off. They work hard. They work fast. They compete. They battle every day. But they're having a good time doing it because they know that we're supporting and celebrating who they are and empowering them to find their very best. That's the other end of the spectrum. Does that make sense? Popovich is in the middle somewhere, okay? And who's the other one you asked? Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson's kind of more. We're kind of over here. Me and Phil, kind of over here a little bit more, And then Bobby Knight's way the hell. He's on the other end. Those are the illustrations. And then it's interesting that the authoritarian way doesn't trust people. They don't trust you because they're afraid that your own personal things are going to get in the way and you're going to respond out of the norm and they can't count on you. It's a great way because that's how you control big groups. We just don't think that way anymore. So does that help?
Yeah. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. And it's kind of a takedown of Belichick. Now, obviously Belichick's way worked, but it's a really interesting way to think about it. You think about the old school basic training way. Yeah, you are a grunt. You do your job. You listen to me. You do what I say. Versus again, Pete Carroll. You go back to even like USC. It's like, hey, everybody, come out to practice. Snoop Dogg's at practice. Yeah, let's have fun. And it helps to have the best players. But I thought that was a really fascinating thing. And we don't have time for my second rant. I'll just make that another day's rant. But I've always respected Pete Carroll as a coach, and I think that's a really fascinating explanation. And I just really think a lot of him as a coach. I love his approach. I love the way he thinks about it. And also, I'd like to say, give the ball to Marshawn freaking Lynch at the goal line.
I was going to say, do you think if he was more of like the authoritarian, would they have run the ball in that situation?
I wanted to play that just so I could yell
just
at him
so
again.
You could yell at him again.
Yeah, because I really like him. But my God, he made the biggest blunder in coaching history. Like all those things are great, and he's really good, and he's going to be good with the Raiders. But, he will never escape that he made the biggest mistake in football coaching history. Like, he really did. Sorry, Pete.
Thank you, Pete. Nice, sweet
Thanks, Pete.
takedown of Pete Carroll at the end there by Rexrode. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. Frank Schwab from Yahoo Sports will be with us coming up next. We will get into all things NFL with him, Robby and Rexrode. 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. And we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our friend Frank Schwab to the program from Yahoo Sports. Frank, good morning. How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Not a lot, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. Frank, I want to start with Shedeur Sanders because obviously, you know, the story of the draft was him sliding to where he did in the draft, and now we've sorted through all that. There's a quarterback competition in Cleveland, and there have been some injuries in the quarterback room. He comes out, looks really impressive in the first preseason game. So now that you've kind of sorted through all of that and his route to get to this point, what do you make of where he is in the aftermath of his first preseason game, and what do you think that means for him moving forward this season?
I just also want to take a moment to recognize I've been covering this league a long time. I'm old now. And I can't remember any time any radio station would bring me on and be like, the first thing we want to talk about is a 5th-round pick.
Yep.
Exactly. Shedeur Sanders is unlike anything else I've ever seen. And this is true. I've covered Tebow. It's just he moves the needle like I don't even really understand why, but Shedeur Sanders is just a phenomenon that way. I mean, from my coworker, my co-host on the Inside Coverage podcast we do, Andrew Siciliano, said 2.5 million people watched a preseason opener for the Browns and the Panthers. Like it's unbelievable. So I get it. And I like Shedeur too. I'm based in Colorado, so I obviously saw a lot of him. And I thought Shedeur, look, he was put into a very difficult situation. He had not had a snap with the starters in practice all training camp at least, when he was basically tabbed to start because of injuries around him. And given that and the lack of reps and just lack of experience, those first NFL snaps, I thought he performed really, really well. I thought he went out there, did everything he had to do. Both touchdowns were great in different ways. One showed a lot of touch and vision. The other, good pocket movement, a really, really strong throw to the middle of the field in the end zone. I was impressed. I don't want to go overboard, though. A lot of people are already trying to, anoint him the starter for week 1. That ain't going to happen. It's still going to be Joe Flacco. But, he made a statement, and those things carry on. They linger when, I assume that the Browns season will go south fairly quickly, actually. Go look at their first 6 games. It's hard. And when it does go south, what does Kevin Stefanski do? Who does he turn to? It might be Pickett next, but at some point, one of those rookies is going to play, Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. I think that's the key, battle on the depth chart right now is whether it's Shedeur, whether it's Dylan Gabriel, who gets the kind of first start. And I mean, that goes a long way. And I think Shedeur made a strong statement that way to be kind of one of the next in line to, hey kid, let's see what you can do. Let's see if you can replicate what you did in the preseason when you showed you're pretty much a gamer that can go out there in less than ideal circumstances and play really, really well.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I was glued to it. But yeah, to your point, I think a lot of those people are hate watching too, right? It's like, he's basically become he's like a battleground for people who are arguing sometimes not even about football, right? Like almost like a Caitlin Clark kind of situation. So, but I was really, really impressed with him.
Caitlin's a good comp to that too. There's just a few athletes in our lifetime who, people debate LeBron, but LeBron's one of the greatest of all time for sure. That's going to happen, or Patrick Mahomes, or whatever. Yeah, I guess Caitlin is too. But you look at a guy like Shedeur, and it just blows my mind the attention he gets. It really does. It started on draft day when he overshadowed the guy who went to your guys' team number 1 overall. That Shedeur has gotten 100 times more attention than Cam Ward, the first pick. It's just weird to me. It's a strange phenomenon.
Well, speaking of Cam Ward, what do you think about? I thought he had a good debut. I think people around here are cautiously optimistic, but what are your thoughts about him and the situation he's in this year with the Titans as they try to fix so many things on that roster?
Right, and that's the thing. I thought Cam did well. He had some nice throws. He smartly was like, where's Calvin Ridley? Most plays. I think that's going to be, his ticket this year to having a good season is just relying on Calvin a lot, and probably Tony Pollard too, in a run game and out of the backfield, especially with Spears hurt. And I just thought he looked good. And it was a weird game. Obviously, you guys saw it. The Bucks had the ball for 14 plus minutes in the first quarter. Like, he couldn't get in any rhythm early on. And so for him to come on in that second quarter, have a really, really productive drive after being on the bench that long, I thought that showed something. And I've been a big Cam supporter since early in the offseason. I bought into this narrative too that, hey, this quarterback draft class stinks, blah, blah, blah. And then you watch Cam Ward and you're like, oh, wait, the class might stink as a whole, but there's one guy who's clearly head and shoulders above the rest. I think Cam Ward, he's got a great arm. He's the work ethic already, is kind of becoming a big thing with him and part of his narrative. I like the fact that he came from nothing. I like the fact that he had 0 FBS scholarship offers, started Incarnate Word, and just worked his way to be the number 1 pick of the draft. I respect the heck out of that. Other guys have different paths and everybody works hard to get to the NFL, but for him to go that route to get to where he was is, I think, just indicative of what he's going to be as an NFL guy. He's going to put in all the work. I think he's going to be very, very good. And look, the Titans aren't in the best spot. We know that. There's a lot of work to do, but when I look at it again, I'm like, is it really that bad? The offensive line has a ton of first-round picks and highly paid free agents. Now that Latham's back on the right side, I think that helps. Calvin Ridley had 1,000 yards last year. Pollard had 1,000 yards last year. Callahan's supposed to be a really, really good offensive coach. We'll see about that this year. I think that the situation, I think Drake May was in a worse situation last year, and offensively at least, and he succeeded. So I think Ward is going to have a good rookie year. And I think he's going to start to flip the whole, hey, I'm getting ignored nationally by about, October, November, the schedule is going to get a little easier. He's going to have some big games. And I think everybody's going to say, wow, this kid actually is good. And he was worth the first pick.
So, Frank, looking around the league, there aren't too many more stories that are more fascinating to me than J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota, because you're talking about a roster that's really good, obviously a coaching staff that's really good, and a team that won 14 games last year. And now he's stepping into all that for the first time as a starting quarterback. So what do you make of kind of the situation, the pressure that McCarthy is stepping into with that team, that roster, that division?
The funny thing is I think some of the pressure has been kind of removed from him because everybody thinks the Vikings are going to fail, and I don't get it. I look at their win total, at BetMGM or wherever, it's 8.5. The team won 14 games last year. You're telling me there's a 5.5 win difference between Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy? Like, I don't get that. Like, why is it pretty much everybody, the narrative has been set that, the Vikings are taking a big fall. And of course they're going to regress. They're not going 14-3 again. It's hard to replicate. But this idea that Sam Darnold was some unbelievable superstar who can't be replaced, those same people are saying, what is Seattle doing? Sam Darnold's not very good. Like, so what is it? And why have we just completely eliminated the possibility that maybe J.J. McCarthy is much better than Sam Darnold? Like, McCarthy's not a guy off the street. A very smart front office traded up to the 10th pick to get him. They drafted him ahead of Bo Nix, who had a really good year here in Denver. I don't know. I think the Vikings are going to be good. I don't see any reason the Vikings won't be good. They're really well coached. They've rebuilt the inside of their offensive line. The defense is going to be awesome with Brian Flores calling it. Justin Jefferson is still catching passes. As far as last time I looked, he was the best receiver on the planet, was still in their offense. So I don't know why the Vikings are going to take this big step back. The record might not be as great because it's just hard to win 14 games in the NFL, but I think it's going to be a really good team, and I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be part of that. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be good this year. I'm kind of just weirdly, I guess I'm just contrarian on the Vikings. Everybody's going the other way, saying they're going to take this big fall or whatnot, and I don't see any good reason to say that. I think they're going to be just fine this year.
Okay, I want to stay in the same division because I think the Lions losing both those coordinators, and in particularly Ben Johnson, I think that could be really tough for them. Dan Campbell, everybody loves Dan Campbell. But I still think he's a coach dependent on having good coordinators. What do you see for them trying to, rebuild from losing those two guys?
Yeah, and it's tough. But I'll say this: I've never had this experience either. Every Lions conversation I've had this entire offseason, the names Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn have been brought up, which is, I think we've overcorrected a little bit. We went years and years ignoring the loss of coordinators. When the Eagles lost their 2 coordinators after they made the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, we kind of just said, it's no big deal. They'll be fine. And then they kind of struggled a little bit the next year. Now it's like everybody's hyper-focused on the Lions coordinators. And I get it. I look, Ben Johnson's great. And Aaron Glenn, I think he's going to actually be a really, really good coach with the Jets. I respect the heck out of both of them. But it's not like they're having a raffle at Ford Field to see who's going to call plays. Like, hey, fan in section 314 gets to call the offense today. Like, John Morton's been around a long time. Just spent the last couple of years with Sean Payton. Kelvin Shepard coached 4 years, linebackers under Aaron Glenn. And the talent level on the Lions is ridiculous still. Their roster is absolutely loaded. Just like the Vikings, they ain't going 15-2 again. Like that's a really, really tough ask. I mean, there's only been 9 teams in NFL history to win 15 games. But I think the Lions are going to be, yes, they're going to take a little bit of a step back. I think they're going to be fine just because, again, I mean, I think on offense at least, they're not on cruise. I don't want to say they're on cruise control, but they know what they're doing. Like they still have Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs and Jared Goff is, in that veteran stage of his career where he's just really good and he can run an offense pretty well. John Morton again is coached under really, really good coaches. So I think the Lions are going to be just fine. I think we've overrated the loss of the coordinators. I'll say that. I'm not ignoring it like we have been for years and years and years. But I think we've gone the other way with this one and just kind of put too much emphasis on, hey, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn are gone, the Lions are in trouble. Well, in a way, yeah, they're not going to be as good. It's hard to replicate those 2 guys, but I think they're going to be just fine. That was a really good football team last year.
All right, Frank, last thing for you here. How bad are the New Orleans Saints going to be this year? Because I think they got a chance to be pretty bad,
man.
pretty special.
Yeah, I don't know how to. Again, I read about betting it too at Yahoo, and I look at, I think 4.5 is our win total, and I would never go under on a total that low. But then I look at it and I'm like, where are the 5 wins coming from? Like, how are they going to get the 5 wins? Like, they're going to be bad. That's going to be a bad football team. And I don't understand at all them drafting Tyler Shuck in the 2nd round, because the only thing he could do is get you just good enough to get you to like the 5th pick of the draft, where you don't get the quarterback you choose, you want, especially if Arch comes out. Imagine if Tyler Shuck is just good enough to get them to like 4-13 and some 3-14 team takes Arch next April. That would kill that franchise for a generation. The New Orleans boy goes somewhere else. So, yes, it has been a poorly run franchise for a few years. Sean Payton covered up a lot, and that roster is just terrible. And it's old, too. That's the thing. You look at the only real blue-chip guy they have under 25 years old or 26 years old is Chris Olave, who has massive concussion issues. Like, they just, it's bad. It is going to be bad in New Orleans. I was watching those 2 quarterbacks on Sunday. I think they played against the Chargers. And I'm just like, this is just going to be embarrassing. Like they're going to be one of those teams that wins 2-3 games, and it's just going to be a rough season in New Orleans.
Well, Frank, really good stuff, man. Appreciate so much you taking time to be with us this morning. We will talk to you soon, and have fun the rest of the preseason, my friend. It's going to be here before we know it in the regular season.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Frank Schwab, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. A lot of interesting stuff there we'll react to coming up next. Take your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Appreciate Frank Schwab for being with us in the last segment. This September, Tim McGraw performing at Trinitix's Rock the Cradle in Nashville, a meaningful event supporting newborns and moms at Ascension St. Thomas Midtown. Get your tickets at rockthecradlenashville.org. Titans in Atlanta today with joint practices going on between the Titans and the Falcons. The pictures are coming out. Apparently, we're not going to see a whole lot of pictures. Did you see Kuharski's tweet yesterday about all this? So Kuharski put this out yesterday. I'll just read the tweet, which I think he had to edit and delete a few times, but he finally got it in there. He said, "Get excited for highlights from joint practices. The Falcons strictly adhere to a rarely enforced NFL limit of 90 seconds per day of video, including pressers and availability. This also includes highlighting practice reps. The rationale to stop idiot aggregators who aren't there from thieving stuff from legitimate press. I'm sure the others making the trip will join me in doing the best we can to provide you with all we can." This is what Kuharski said yesterday. Joe, your thoughts?
I had no idea this was a rule. 90 seconds of total video that you're allowed to share? That's what he's saying? Including...
I guess so. Including the press conferences and availabilities.
Good God. I mean, that sounds like a...
Here's the joint practice. We can't tell you or show you anything that's happening, but here it is down there.
And first of all, so first of all, Carsey's already screwed up, because what you do is you ask for forgiveness. You don't ask for permission, right? You start out by asking for forgiveness. When you throw out 8 straight minutes of practice reps interspersed with some press conference comments, and just say, "Okay, what are you going to do to me? You kick me out of Georgia? What are we doing here?"
That's fine. Do it. I don't know. I've never heard of this before.
That's absurd. Good Lord.
So I guess you won't see a single individual outlet today have more than 90 seconds of video total.
I implore all of you there, ignore the hell out of this. Seriously. Who cares? The Falcons going to get mad. Oh, are they not going to let you get Chick-fil-A when you cover the game Friday night?
That may stop me. It may
you can get it on the way. There's probably a Chick-fil-A every block in that city.
Probably is. I'd never heard of this before.
That's so dumb.
A rarely enforced NFL limit of 90 seconds per day of video, including pressers and availability. You can just mash it all up. Like, here's part of a Brian Callahan answer. Here's routes on air of
like
Io Manor
one quick
out there.
It was good.
Hey, look at there. It was good.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Please ignore that.
We'll see what happens down there today at the joint practice, and if there's any video evidence at all that it took place.
God, that's really wild. That sounds like the authoritarian type crap that like a Belichick would have done, but not a Pete Carroll.
Maybe so.
Please tell Ed. At least Ed's not. He's done arguing about how like 80s NBA teams were as good as teams now, but he's just obsessed with this Marino Montana thing. It's like
there's a lot of people that you've upset with the Marino Montana thing.
Again, people seem to think that I'm saying Montana was bad. I'm not at all. I just think that Marino was a better player than him. This is possible. It is possible to win championships and not be as good as someone who doesn't win championships at one position in a sport in which 11 people play against 11 other people on the field.
That is true.
This is a possibility.
That is fair. It does not sound like Frank Schwab has much time for the Vikings taking a huge step back or the Lions taking a huge step back this year. Does think the Saints are going to be absolute cheeks, though, apparently.
Yeah, they'll be buns. I think he's wrong about the Lions, but we'll see. Yeah, do you agree with what he said about – because I agree that with the Eagles, it was overlooked.
Yeah.
I agree that with the Eagles, it was like, oh, yeah.
They lost Steichen, yeah.
But I don't know that I would agree. I guess he almost framed it like we have never cared that much about coordinators leaving. I think in different situations over the years, there's been that conversation.
Yeah, I think it depends on the situation. But, I do think, some of it just who's the head coach too, right? Like this, for instance, like if Sean McVay loses his offensive coordinator, who cares, right? Like, because Sean McVay is the play caller.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell is the head coach. He's your typical rah-rah, I'm not calling plays, but I'm the head coach type guy. Now, that we're probably, regardless of who the coordinator is, going to go for it on every single fourth down possible. So I guess we know that heading into the year.
Well, that's what's going to be interesting, too. I was watching the Bears game the other day, and they're like, well, now you can expect the Bears to go for it all the time. And it's like, probably, but was that Ben Johnson or was that Dan Campbell? But see, so Dan Campbell is a culture coach, right? So we split it up with like the Carroll Belichick thing.
Yeah.
But see, you also could split it up between the tactician / motivator.
I agree. Yeah.
And you can motivate in different ways. Like I would probably wager that Dan Campbell's more of the Pete Carroll school of, celebrate, build you up. You need to be thinking on your feet than like the Belichick. Again, Belichick now he's just the ultimate coach. But that's kind of true. And also, Dennis, by the way, made a point, which is most people can lead that authoritarian way. It takes someone special to lead the other way. I think that is a good point.
We'll see.
But anyway, I think Dan Campbell lost two really good coordinators. I agree. I think Glenn and Johnson can be good head coaches. But either way, they were really good coordinators. And that's both of them in 1 year. I know they're talented, but they're going 9-8.
Trevor says, going back to the 90-second rule, will that 90 seconds include a James Pierce Jr. fight with the Titans?
One quick punch. Pew! One quick comment. That wasn't good. One quick rep. I mean, this is absolutely ignore them. What are they going to do? Are they seriously? Okay, so who's down there? Probably
Gentry's down there.
Gentry,
PK's
TD,
down there. I'm sure TD's down there.
Both the Tennessean guys. Yeah, Nick Suss too.
It's Suss
all
too.
kinds of people down there.
So these
not that far away.
So these,
Teron, PK.
These Falcons people they're just closely monitoring every little thing they put out, and they're counting it up. They get their stopwatch going. Get out of here.
I don't know.
Ignore this rule and blow past it and see what happens. I understand it's easy for me to say.
Trying to get people in trouble down there.
I swear to you.
Do not pay attention.
I swear to you, and my videos suck, but I swear to you, I would do it. I would ignore the hell out of this. This is so 90 seconds of an entire day, including interviews. Hello. What? Yeah. Like, I mean, come on.
That's the thing. Like here in Nashville, there's more than 90 seconds by like one Brian Callahan answer that people tweet out.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool.
Just do, if you're doing the QB drills, you can easily hit 90 seconds.
Here, we're going to have a practice, but no one will know about it. No one can possibly see it out there.
I mean,
okay, cool.
Kaharski decides to go bitch on the internet about it instead of just ignoring it. What you do is you put out your 5-minute video to shut this down. You put out your 5-minute video, you leave town, then you rip them on Twitter, PK.
Yeah. While you're going down the highway.
Yeah. That's what you do.
Dennis says no more than 90 seconds and all the quarterbacks have got to be blurred out. Don't show any of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's
blur
a good
every one of them out.
That's a good point. If you blur people, can you get more time?
You get more time?
Yeah.
On the video stream.
I mean, Kaharski needs a blur on his camera anyway.
Like, Vrabel is in the middle of his answer where he's talking about how much losing sucks. And he goes on this rant. You got to cut it off at 90 seconds because of this stupid rule by the Falcons.
It just stops.
It's like, what happened? We didn't even get to hear about Trey Avery right there. Didn't get there. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. More of your Titans thoughts to get to, quarterback thoughts as well.
Seriously, Kaharski needs a blur function on his phone. Yes, he badly needs it. Yes, how have we not thought of this?
You need great weight loss.
Naked bodies to assess them better.
I do. That shirt's off.
Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. I got some tickets to give away, a 4-pack of tickets to see PBR Stampede Days coming up this Sunday at Bridgestone Arena. Be caller 2, 615-737-1025. Caller 2 will win a 4-pack of tickets to PBR Stampede Days this Sunday at Bridgestone Arena, 615-737-1025. Joe, we got a lot of thoughts earlier. Marcus Spears on NFL Live yesterday made the comparison to Jordan Love for Cam Ward and some of the things that he saw from him. And, of course, that led to the discussion of, well, yeah, I'd take Jordan Love, or I would not take Jordan Love. And Spears was talking about more the stylistic and the way that they play part of this too. But it did open up the conversation about, like, what exactly are you looking for out of your number 1 overall pick? And I stand by what I said months ago in this conversation. Like, yes, I want Cam Ward to be Mahomes, Allen, those guys. We all do, right? That's what you want. I can live with other outcomes too. Like, I can live with Jalen Hurts. I can live with Jordan Love. I can live with Baker Mayfield. Like, there are layers to this that it's going to be really interesting to see what type of player he is. I mean, there are other possibilities too, and he could totally bust out and not be the quarterback here in 2-3 years from now. So we'll see what happens on that front. But like, I watch him play, and I do get some of the similarities that Spears and Orlovsky were pointing out, just in terms of, like, the ability to throw the ball off platform, footwork. I think probably in both cases with Love and Ward need some work, right? Like, we've talked about that. And Orlovsky had a really good breakdown yesterday of some of Ward's snaps from the preseason game against Tampa. And in the one that we've talked about where he almost threw the interception, his feet are basically sideways when he's letting go of the football. So not perfect footwork all the time, something that's going to be a work in progress with Cam Ward out there. But what do you make of that comp? What do you make of kind of the breakdown of what Orlovsky threw out there yesterday of what exactly he saw from Ward in the first preseason game?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'd forgotten that TD had already made that comp to us a long time ago. But, yeah, I get that. I've thought in terms of, and of course, again, my initial thought on Brugler with the Kyler Murray was, I'm like, what? But then Cam Ward's ability to elude is I think that's the point there. And Murray also sometimes looks like a shortstop turning a double play out there with some of the different arm angles, things like that. But yeah, I think it makes sense. And like you said, then it gets into the not the conversation, but like Jordan Love wouldn't be good enough, which blows my mind that anybody would think that, but people think that.
They do. Some people do think that. We've heard from them today on the text line. Heard from a lot of them.
Yeah, that's I would say if that's the style, if that's the play style that he plays with in NFL games, I think that could be an effective play style. I mean, it's like,
it'll get you in trouble at times too.
Yeah, and he'll make mistakes. The Green Bay Packers had a guy who never learned to not make terrible mistakes.
It's true.
He did enough other good things, it didn't matter.
That's true. It's funny, we were talking about the quarterback tiers earlier, and Love is in tier 2. He's number 13 on the list. But there's a coach, a defensive coach that describes him and says, quote, "When we played them, I was like, man, this ball's going downfield. He don't give a bleep. You don't see a lot of quarterbacks play like that these days. It's almost like they build it into their offense and see the benefits of making you defend the whole field and hitting a couple in exchange for maybe a pick or two. It was interesting playing him. I came away thinking there's something different about this kid." I don't know that Ward is exactly that. Like, is Ward, are they going to chuck it down the field 50 yards deep 5 times a game? I don't know that that's going to happen at this point in this offense. Frankly, I don't know that they've got the personnel to do that right now. So we'll see what happens on that front. Although, if you get better protection and Ridley can get downfield with his speed, maybe they do. Maybe they do air it out deep down the field more than we've seen. But there are some other parts of the game that I do think are comparable that way.
Yeah. Well, is DK going to be anything more than, I feel like if he has a role this year and everybody else is healthy, it's like the occasional, maybe like the Khalif Raymond role of a few years ago where you sneak him out there. And try to take a shot. But you certainly can do that with Calvin Ridley. I think Iron Manor is a guy who can make some plays downfield too. Are they going to have the protection to where you can take those shots? I'm not willing to say that after one preseason game, but it was as good as you could hope to see, I think, in that game. You really break down all those snaps with Cam Ward and the 1-0 line in there. It was good against backups, but it was good.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see. It's going to be a much different picture when you see Denver. So how do they handle that? Like, not that Denver's got, Lawrence Taylor's running around out there all over the place, but they're going to put pressure on the quarterback, and it's going to provide, I think, also against LA too the next week. You're going to have a couple of pretty good tests for your offensive line right out of the gate there if you're the Titans. And it would look, in all seriousness, beyond just the deep shot part of it, because I think everybody wants to see, like, if you're a Titans fan out there, the idea of throwing the ball down the field sounds great. How often in any offense does that happen in a game? Like, even Mahomes is not sitting back there 25 times a game throwing the ball 40 yards down the field. It's always about consistently hitting the strike zone, moving the ball. But you do have to have some of that. Like, it's so hard in the NFL to just consistently take your team on 12-play drives all the time without making some sort of mistake along the way, that you've got to have some level of explosion in your offense. And we'll see if they can do that this year. But I do wonder, like, if you – probably one thing we've not talked about enough, beyond the obvious of just keeping your quarterback upright and healthy, if you do get good protection from this offensive line, how much more of the offense does that open up? Because I have to think there's reached a point in the last couple of years, and certainly last year with Brian Callahan, where you realize pretty quickly that if you call certain plays, you're asking for your quarterback to get murdered back there. So if that changes and the protection is better, how much more the offense naturally opens up because Callahan feels comfortable calling it this year, where last year you knew there were situations where it's 3rd and 10 and you just can't call something because the defense is pinning their ears back and right on top of your quarterback in 2 seconds.
No question. Yeah, no question. It's like I think a lot of people are like, play calling seemed fine. I agree. I don't like the scheme was fine, but yeah, I mean, it had to have been limited. It had to have been chopped down not too far into the season. Once you really started to see the issues you had protecting a quarterback, I mean, it just totally it ties a hand behind your back when you have to deal with that. And when you don't have to deal with that, and you actually can control things up there, and in tandem with a running game, now all of a sudden, I mean that playbook opens up a lot, right? And particular plays within a playbook look different, and you can get to different things, right? Because you have protection, because you win up front. I mean, winning up front is still, it's still the most important thing. It's always going to be the most important thing in tackle football.
We've reached the point in training camp where people are, taking photos out there and, identifying what could be going on. Apparently, Adam Peters, the general manager for Washington, as of 15 minutes ago, was standing on the sideline having a long discussion with Terry McLaurin out there, who, of course, is not practicing with Washington right now. So people are speculating, are they getting close to an agreement, or is he talking about like, hey, like the Minnesota Vikings called and want to trade for you? You down for that? I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, those what is the conversation that's actually happening? It's always I mean
they could be talking about popcorn.
Right. Like the teammates got like a baby shower coming up. It's like, I really don't know what to buy for the baby shower. I thought
it's all over the place now.
By the way,
what are they talking about? Where's Terry McLaurin being traded?
Yeah, because that's usually how it works. Like, hey, what do you think? What do you think? You want Eagles, Seahawks? Also, speaking of photos, are Titans media allowed to take photos?
Well, I don't know.
A certain size, a certain
PK. So PK
cropping has to
resolution.
Yeah, Kuharski
Yeah.
just tweeted a video of the Titans filing into Falcons headquarters. So it's the Titans like walking through the parking lot, getting to the Falcons facility, and it's 1 minute and 22 seconds long. So it's like, does this count? Has he used up 82 of the 90 seconds already before practice is even?
He's down to 8 seconds.
Where does it start? Like, when does the rule start?
That's like
when they're on the field.
That's a good question. Or can you stand outside the building and just all day. Just take video.
PK gets a drone. I'm out here. Got my drone back here in Flowery Branch, Georgia.
I think he should be like an FBI informant. Hide the camera on your person and just walk around talking to people.
Where's Connor Stallions when you need him?
Stream it. Yeah. Yes. Connor Stallions will get down to the bottom of this case.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. We give you the latest updates on the joint practice with the Falcons. Coming up next, more of your Titans thoughts to get to as well. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. Titans in action today, taking on the Falcons in joint practices. They'll do practice today, practice tomorrow, day off Thursday, game Friday, coming up for the Titans this week. So taking your thoughts on all that, 615-737-1025. Let's head to our 1025 The Game phone line. Welcome in Bart to the program. Bart, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey guys, thank you so much. Yeah, the 90-second video. As a former TV sportscaster, my ears went up because this certainly sounds like a page from the NCAA tournament. Joe, Robby, you guys have covered those things, and you know how strict they say they want to be. And so I remember when I was fresh out of college, my first sports job, and it was tournament time, and one of the teams we were covering, I ran like a 2-minute highlight package. And so the news director almost storms into the studio and he says, Bart, we only could run like 30 seconds of video. He was just freaking out. And so it was almost like a wait and see. Was the NCAA SWAT video police about to just, rush down the door? No one came, thankfully, and no one got in trouble. But here's the loophole on that whole thing, guys, is that no, I don't think, do we know of any window times that have been established? Okay. Cause that's, if you get the old tap on the shoulder about, oh, you've exceeded the 90-second video for Titans camp, no windows were established. So, I mean, we need more information.
Yes.
I know if I'm in their shoes, I need more window time. I need more details. And that falls in line with what you guys were saying earlier. Definitely. Far better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
There we
Absolutely.
go.
Yes.
Thank you, Bart. Appreciate it.
Yes, Bart. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, no, that's funny because I definitely I kind of take, like with NCAA tournament stuff, obviously it's so much about the content, the product, right? And so they're trying to protect that. So I take that, like, I'm like, I don't think these people are messing around. Like, I get that. Yeah. Okay. But I mean, this is
like I sent Kirk Cousins after you today.
Freaking practice.
Kirk walks up to Kuharski after the game. He's like, Paul, you went 100 seconds.
Come here. You like that?
Went 100 seconds with your video.
94 seconds. Yeah, I might need. You know what? Maybe it's time to also. We should send a text of support and motivation to the whole crew that's down there. Just say today. You will put out the longest videos you've ever put out in your career, even longer videos than you want to put out. I want you to pick every single drill and put them on the internet.
Maybe so. Well, Trevor Siemian officially back out there for the Titans today.
Oh, yeah.
There are videos that are coming out. So Tim Boyle, that era in Nashville is done. And Trevor Siemian for, I believe, the third time now back with the Titans. 2020, last year, and now again this year, Siemian, quarterback number 3 for the Tennessee Titans.
I don't imagine that Trevor Siemian will have a Tim Boyle-like performance at any point with
tough.
the Titans. We'll watch him play in the preseason. But I kind of feel like we lost some entertainment value, actually.
I agree.
Tim was just starting to boil, and now he's gone. And that may be the last passes that he throws in an NFL uniform.
No more cooking.
I think that's I think that might.
Titans are devoid of all cooking. Rand's gone. Boyle's gone. You're not going to be cooking around
microwave
the
only, please.
Yeah, we don't have time for any of that stuff.
It's like an ice bath for your eggs. You're making hard-boiled eggs, basically, the Tim Boyle situation. So Trevor Siemian, I remember him. Yeah, we were talking about earlier in the show. Came in 5 years ago, and it was like, oh,
so he's not good.
A little rough. 5 years later, he's back. Okay.
Again, quarterback 3.
Yeah,
Let's
he's
see
not.
What happens.
I mean, Brandon Allen is not a very good quarterback 2. He would be at the lower end of quarterback 2s in the league. But I would not consider Trevor Siemian a serious contender for quarterback 2 on this team. I think he's, well, frankly, probably on the lower. I don't know. I shouldn't say that because I don't know so many quarterback 3s.
Yeah, there's some doozies
you
out
get
there.
in quarterback 3s, and it's like, that guy played college football? Who is that? So
Atlanta's quarterback 3, who we will be seeing mostly this week. Apparently, no Penix or Cousins.
Oh, good.
So it'll be Easton Stick.
Sure.
Yeah.
Easton Stick.
And Emory Jones.
Yes.
See, there you go. So that's what we're talking about. But Trevor Siemian is I don't know where he ranks among QB3s, but he is a QB3. That's what he is.
Oh yeah.
So there's your pecking order. I know a lot of Titans fans, I think, agree with me in terms of, okay, the season's Cam Ward. You lose Cam Ward, the season is get a good pick. Because you're not going to win with Cam Ward. You're certainly not going to win without him. There's no backup out there to get. Carson Wentz isn't going to come in here and win football games for you. So I think that you just go with what you have and make it all about Cam Ward. And if you get to the point where you're a good football team and you have a chance to make the playoffs, win some games, et cetera, well, that's when QB2 becomes more important, and you need someone who could carry the mail for a while if you lose your starter.
Well,
they're just not that team right now.
We went through a stretch around here where QB2 was very important, right? Like it went from the Blaine Gabberts of the world. It was Castle, Gabbert, and then finally Tannehill, who ended up being QB1 halfway through that year. So, I mean, there reached a point when you were concerned about Marcus's health that QB2 was one of the things we talked about most around here in this market was, who in the world's going to be the backup? Because they're probably going to have to play.
Because it was a good team with a fragile quarterback.
And this roster is not quite in that spot yet. So we'll see what happens. I got a texter that says that he reached his boiling point on the way out and to let Siemian sizzle. Let Siemian sizzle.
Sizzle, simmer.
Yeah,
you got a couple
simmer.
there.
I like that. That's
Trevor
good.
Simmerian. Oh.
That one needs work.
What was his actual nickname? You had that on Pro Football Reference, right? Didn't you have that on Pro Football Reference?
I have it right here. It was T Money Sizzle.
Yeah.
T Money Wiggle.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
T Dot.
I mean, T Dot's got a lot of potential in Tennessee, but T Money Wiggle, I think, is probably my favorite.
I mean, Trevor Siemian, I don't know if he's
T-Dot
ever
if
he's ever even sidestepped a rusher in his entire football career. And his nickname is Wiggle? Has Wiggle in it?
T-Money Wiggle.
I mean, Northwestern used to have like these mobile quarterbacks, and he was like the one dude who couldn't run at Northwestern.
I'm still trying to get.
Yeah, let Trevor sizzle. That's not bad.
I'm still trying to figure out where Trevor Lawrence's nickname on this site came from, which is the Prince Who Was Promised.
He came from Shrek 2.
Has he ever been called that?
Yeah.
Is that where it came from? Shrek 2?
Isn't that the one that had Justin Bieber? Or not Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake as a little Prince guy?
Sure.
Or is that Shrek 3?
I don't know. I think I stopped at Shrek.
Yeah, no one ever said the Prince Who Was
one.
Promised. No one ever said that. It's
Trevor Lawrence from Knoxville, Tennessee.
The youngsters say it's Shrek
Go
the
Vols.
Third.
Paul Karski is the peeper who was promised. I don't know why I'd take that shot at him at the end of the show.
That's it for us today. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman. Coming up next, you're listening to 102.5 The Game.